I want to talk about something real quick. I want to talk about similar opponents that Keith Thurman and Errol Spence have faced, and that's Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. Now, my last video, somebody said that, not disrespectful, very respectful, but they said Errol Spence looked better versus Danny Garcia, and he also looked better versus Sean Porter. But I feel like they're not telling the whole story. Now, I think offensively speaking, because he's a high volume fighter, not like he used to be, but he does let his hands go more than Keith Thurman. Now, Keith Thurman is nowhere near like a Danny Garcia where he's just hesitant. You know what I'm saying? Just timid. Like Keith Thurman just called Danny Garcia timid, especially when it comes to these big fights. But it's true. But Keith Thurman defensively didn't get hit as much as Errol Spence did. If you really go back and watch Keith Thurman versus Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. And the reason why he didn't get hit as much is because when you think about footwork and you think about somebody who can move around, who has faster feet, just better footwork, just in general, not as flat-footed as Errol Spence, he can kind of dodge punches, a lot better because, he can move around. Errol Spence is a strong fighter, but he's a come-forward fighter. You know what I'm saying? One thing I do like about him, he's starting to use his jab a little bit more, but he really don't use it enough. Pretty much throws a lot of combinations and volume, but he's there to be hit because when you watch him versus Danny Garcia couldn't miss a right hand against Errol Spence to save his life. You know what I'm saying? Now, he did counter. I thought in the first fight with Keith Thurman, when Danny Garcia fought, well, they only fought once, but in the fight that they fought, he was countering Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman was very aggressive in the early rounds. But when Keith Thurman started to move around and just box more, he wasn't really able to get to him like that. You know what I'm saying? But those guys did land a lot more on Errol Spence than they did Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman is a better defensive fighter. Sometimes you just got to tell the whole story. Peace.